In 2013, surveillance footage of a young student named Elisa acting erratically in a vintage hotel elevator went viral. Shortly after that video was recorded, she vanished. 19 days later, guests began complaining about low water pressure. Investigators checked the roof and made a tragic discovery. Lam's body was floating inside one of the building's water supply tanks, sparking a global media sensation. Lam's disappearance followed a decades-long pattern that earned the building a grim local nickname, the Suicide. The Cecil represents a unique geographic anomaly, a massive, under-regulated space that has spent a century incubating urban tragedy. In 1924, the Cecil opened as a $1.5 million Beaux Arts luxury destination. With its opulent marble lobby and stained glass windows, it was designed specifically for affluent tourists and business travelers. Within 5 years, the Great Depression hit. The affluent travel market evaporated almost overnight. As the nearby Skid Row area rapidly expanded, the massive, failing hotel had to pivot to survive. It became a hub for cheap, single-room occupancy, or SRO, housing. This created a sprawling geographic blind spot, a massive, under-regulated building left to rot right in the center of a growing socioeconomic crisis. That rapid pivot from luxury to desperation left an oversight vacuum, and that vacuum would inevitably be filled by the city's most vulnerable populations and its most dangerous predators. Within a 4-mile radius of the hotel, up to 10,000 homeless individuals lived on the streets. The Cecil became a concentrated center for drug activity and sex work. Throughout the 30s, 40s, and 50s, a wave of suicides cemented its dark aura. Consider the 1964 case of Pigeon Goldie Osgood. She was a retired telephone operator and a beloved long-term resident of the building. She was found raped, stabbed, and beaten to death in her ransacked room. Her murder remains unsolved. The building's extreme anonymity protected killers rather than residents. Goldie's unsolved death proved that the lack of oversight had turned the Cecil into a dangerous trap for unprotected citizens. By the 1980s, the extreme anonymity of the building began to actively attract serial predators. Serial killer Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, made the Cecil his home base for weeks. Ramirez reportedly committed 14 murders while staying there. He used the hotel's transient chaos to wash off blood and hide in plain sight. In 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger checked in. Unterweger specifically chose the Cecil to mimic Ramirez, using it as a base to strangle sex workers he lured from the surrounding area. Which brings the timeline back to Elisa Lam in 2013 and the physical layout of the building itself. Lam had been diagnosed with an extreme form of bipolar disorder. But her accidental drowning was fatally complicated by the hotel's massive, easily accessible roof and its incomplete security camera coverage. Both intentional predators and environmental hazards exploited the exact same structural flaw, a complete lack of systemic oversight in a massive, chaotic space. The building has made recent, desperate attempts to sanitize its reputation, including rebranding a portion of the hotel as Stay on Main. In 2017, the Los Angeles City Council even designated it a historic cultural monument, contrasting its architectural value with its dark history. In 2021, the building pivoted again, reopening as an affordable housing complex meant to provide shelter for 600 low-income residents. Yet, despite these rebrands, the building continues to suffer. Modern tenants report horrific living conditions, including water leaks, vermin infestations, and black mold. So, is the Cecil Hotel actually cursed by supernatural forces? The Cecil stands as a physical manifestation of a century of systemic neglect. It shows what happens when a society creates a massive, underfunded blind spot. The vulnerable are left trapped inside, and predators know exactly where to check in.